Hello, everybody. Welcome to Irongeek Cast number 119, Crawfish Etouffee. How's everybody doing today?
I'm alive.
I'm doing pretty well.
Can't, can't complain.
You can always complain. I mean, not doing any good, but you can always complain.
Well, this is true. This is true.
As I always said, yeah, I could bitch, but who would care? You know, who's gonna listen?
Not a damn person.
Except for maybe like the 100+ people that watch this on a weekly basis.
Well, yeah, then you're forcing them to.
Yeah.
Hey, we have a captive audience. I can make them listen.
It all began when I was 3.
It all
Oh,
it all began on January 1st, 1900.
the longest episode of Iron Geek in history. Darren spilling it all.
I'm pretty well. Weren't the earlier one right when I joined the cast? I looked at some of the earlier episodes. Some of those were like 12-hour casts.
That's usually because I passed out.
No, but they were like full, like 12-hour long casts.
Ah, the good old days.
Before Cappy.
Before Cappy. I'm sure somebody out there dubstepped Adrian snoring too.
I'm surprised someone hasn't done anything with the lotion.
Ooh, I know.
Meme. Oh my God, she's got the lotion.
Let's see. Since last week, I've had a pretty good week. I've had a so-so week. So, my wife informed me that the the washer is no longer spinning, and so the motor on the bottom that does the agitator, aggregator, whatever it's called, as well as spins the whole thing, no longer happening. And the first time this year that my AC came on in my vehicle, the AC compressor the clutch decided to go out on it. So that was awesome. Other than those, great week though.
So normal week.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Well, I made it from flying in last night at about 10 o'clock or so your guys' time from New York. So that's where I've been this week. That's fun. Had a good time.
Yeah.
Tested some stuff. It was fun.
Any physical security wrapped in that, or just,
no? It was just wireless testing. So
oh yeah.
I was able to get. I was given 3 networks that I needed to try and get into. Got into one and got handshakes on all 3 of them, but I was only able to crack the one handshake during the time that I was there.
Gotcha.
And geez, can we just talk for a second about like trying to get anywhere in New York City? Oh my gosh. Dude, for me to go like, I think it was like 4 miles or something. It was like an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, I avoid New York like the plague.
But whatever.
One of the things I like about downtown Jeffersonville, Indiana: free parking, plenty of little restaurants and pubs.
And out in the way, they have the outlet mall, right?
I mean, yeah, well, there's the mall in Clarksville, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was Jeffersonville. Like, had an outlet mall. Where is that?
What is an outlet mall exactly?
It's like quite a few strip malls all combined. They usually have name brands, and it's like Overstocks or Mismatch.
Like Macy's, Burlington, Best Buy usually has some like corner of the mall or whatever.
Maybe it's Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Hot
Edinburgh.
Topic,
Okay.
Spencer's, some weird jewelry store in the middle of the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there'll usually be like a Reebok store, a Nike store, stuff like that. But yeah, it's Edinburgh. In Ohio, it's Jeffersonville. So But LIPD is almost always in Jeffersonville, Indiana.
What
You guys ever watch that?
What is this?
LIPD. They're on A&E.
Oh, why did
Yeah.
you so much? I know there's a guy I listen to on YouTube goes by Donut Operator. He's a former cop, and he had some coverage from Jeffersonville, Indiana, where someone essentially shit at the cops.
That sounds
It's
fairly
really
accurate.
Russian dude, and I grew up in Jeffersonville, and there's not like there's a whole lot of Russians, but this is some drunk dude they pulled over, and he like shit at the cops.
Nice.
Huh.
Wait. Say that again. He shit at the
He
cops?
shit at the cops.
Like in their general direction, or like right at them?
Damn it! I'll have to look it
Yeah,
up.
I mean,
that's
the
like
way you're saying it kind of confuses me. You're not saying he shit and then picked it up and threw it at the cops.
No,
Yeah,
that's
Shit.
that's like explosive diarrhea right there.
We've heard of projectile vomit, but like projectile shit.
I mean, you
That-
got
that's
explosive
pretty impressive.
diarrhea. It
I
could have
mean,
happened.
yeah, but what's the range?
That's what I was gonna say. What's the effective range, no matter what?
yeah, it didn't get a whole lot of range on it.
When a bunch of gun guys start talking about projectile shit. Welcome to the security podcast.
Yeah. How could we extend that range?
Well, let me tell you.
So if we put a funnel up our
More
you know,
burritos are required.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If you load up on burritos and really build up
just
that
ate a
back
burrito.
end gas content,
I just ate a
Like
burrito, so we can
appetite, you
test
know?
this. Maybe
Maybe
if I
like
just if I just down all of these Diablo sauce packets that are in front of me.
the sauce doesn't help with that any.
Well, kind of like, on a water hose with an open end, if you squeeze it, it increases the pressure and it goes a little bit further. I'm saying you might be able to pinch the sphincter, and you might be able to get a little bit more.
Or have a secondary device.
Are you saying like a rocket nozzle?
Yeah,
because
something
that's how
to-
rockets work.
Yeah, something to more confine the stream and make it a more intense stream. Yeah.
You're saying to install a rocket nozzle in the ass is what you're
It's like-
saying.
Well,
Yeah.
you
Why
could-
not?
You could almost do like a reverse catheter. Or like why are we talking about this?
Adrian brought it up.
Just go with it, man.
Alright, going with it. Alright.
But well, yeah, live PD. I like it once in a while. If you have a couple hours of burn on a Friday night, Saturday night, it's kind of fun to watch. Reminds you of Cops from when you were a kid. But they're actually live.
Bad boys, what you
Yeah, that's right.
what you
It's like the NFL red zone of cops.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
switching back and forth consistently
Yeah.
between different departments. So yeah, I get that. Yeah. I like it.
Oh wow! I didn't see this one. Donut Operator a year ago did one on fatal Louisville police shooting breakdown. I have to check that one out later.
We're all about the donuts. Okay.
What about these nuts?
Hey.
Got him. Someone laughed. It's worth it.
Yeah, those are some amazing eats right there.
All right. Let's
Hey,
go.
D's Nuts was running for political office a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was in North Carolina, wasn't it?
I think so.
You can see what I'm knowledgeable about.
Yeah, I'm all about talking about D's Nuts.
By
And
the way,
there's a food
I
truck
I
named
just
D's Nuts.
checked. There's a Wikipedia article. These nuts, open parentheses, politician, close parentheses. And that was North Carolina at one
Nice.
point, but there's also one in Iowa.
What about my sweaty balls?
I don't know if there's
It's
no
not.
Wikipedia
It's not
page for it.
my sweaty balls. It's
What is it?
sweaty balls.
Is it just sweaty balls?
Yes.
I thought it was my sweaty balls. The whole bit was
Because his last name is
Adding-
Sweaty.
yeah.
Yes.
So a meatball company, right, or whatever, I don't remember.
Made custom delicious balls.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this is interesting. Just so you all know, there was some other runners in the North Carolina race. There was also Beast Mode,
Ooh,
Crunch,
nice.
Butt Stuff, Cranky Pants. Obviously, there was D's Nuts, Limber Butt McCubbins, American Cookies, and Queen Elsa.
Was Icy Wiener also in that running?
Wow.
No.
Did he ever get his pizza?
Probably not.
Damn.
Glad
Man.
someone picked up on that reference.
That is rough.
What do you want to? What are you gonna be? So I'm gonna be a delivery boy now. Yeah. Okay. Or Futurama. Great show. Show notes. Let's jump in.
Let's jump in. First up, we have ransomware hits a long-named organization,
I will.
which I did not feel like typing out. So, ransomware hit. Oh, and just a reminder, anybody watching on YouTube, left side, under Adrian, or under Irongeek's name, Adrian, maybe it says 2, and his little icon has show notes, a Google Drive link, so you can follow along if you want.
Adrian, if you want to click my screen, I'll be sharing the articles as normal.
Okay.
There you go. Because, yeah, I don't. So, in February, Southeastern Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence fell to ransomware and potentially accessed the records of over 25,000 patients.
Holy.
Really is a long name. Southeastern Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence.
Or better known as the SCADD.
Yeah, SCAD. Which in our industry usually is other things. So they discovered disruptions within the network. They determined ransomware had compromised some of the systems. And they worked with a third party. Some of the compromised data included patient names, addresses, social security numbers, medical histories, and treatments. They could not rule out SCAD. Officials said they could not rule out access. So, yeah, all that information potentially in hackers' hands or thieves' hands. And, good. It's all better now. Everybody affected will get a free year of credit monitoring.
Well, that fixes everything. It's gonna be fun.
That hurt.
Disaster averted. Man.
Oh, that hurt my jaw to do that. All right. So HIPAA violation. They're gonna get fined. All the fun stuff. It's interesting. They point out, despite the decline in ransomware attacks, first quarter of 2019 saw a 195% increase in ransomware attacks.
Yeah.
So I think people are finally getting to the point where they're just like, okay, cool. No one's gonna patch this stuff. I'm gonna make money off of it.
Yep. Patch your shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a side note, the Verizon data breach annual report, blah, 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 came out this week. If you came here hoping to hear more about it, no.
Read it.
Read that yourself. The two biggies that came out of it are not that big, but the two most used entryways into organizations, and I don't know what the order was, but web apps and the human vulnerability. So that's
what we
never
already know.
ever been the case. I mean, this is brand new news, obviously, to everybody. But
Question though, did they bring up email at all in the report? If you remember, I haven't read it.
like, well, humans accessing the email and clicking on shit, yes.
Well, no. So
In which way email?
So there's been some
Like popping O365 and
just popping like vulnerable O365 logins and then leveraging that for like a phishing campaign.
yeah, but still, what is O365?
It's an email client.
On the
OWA.
server side,
OWA. Yeah.
it's still a web app.
Yeah, it's still a web app. Okay, cool. Still policies and everything.
Yeah. Yep.
That should have been what I covered this week. I'm going to cover it next week.
There you go. Okay, this next one is Uniqlo. I don't know. Some Japanese company.
Uniqlo.
Yeah, that could be it. Hackers accessed and stole information from 460,000 online accounts. This information included partial credit card numbers, and the breach occurred between April 23rd and May 10th. Let's see. Fast Retailing has determined total of blah blah unauthorized logins occurred. So it sounds like they physically created a mechanism to go straight through the front door.
Right.
Once they got all the information from the back end, they went straight through the front door.
So here's what they did in credential stuffing. They did a credential stuffing attack, which I have not heard of.
Actually, we just wrote something on credential. My company just wrote something on it today, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So go check out TrustedSec/blog/
Binary defense.
binary. No, I'm kidding. Find that, and there probably is a good write up on that. I have to read that now. So they got full PII. Looks like, at least from what they're saying.
Yeah,
No,
it's
what the
actively
goal
being
is.
sold on the dark web, which is always fun. And let's see if there's anything else fun in here. I don't think there was much of anything else. Just, yeah. Yeah, the only big thing they mention is reuse of passwords. So again, use a password vault of some sort. Don't use the same password on multiple sites. I mean, it's almost a given at some point, every site is going to be compromised.
Yep.
So you reutilizing that same password on one site that gains access into another is no good. And as well as make sure anything that you can do two-factor auth or multi-auth on, do it. Use Google Authenticator. Use something that is open. What's it called? Open auth. You know,
Okay.
if you already use Duo for work or
Duo's good.
Yeah, but I think it's still paid though, right?
I'm unsure, but probably.
They may have personal side, but Google Authenticator does it. There's other freebies out there like Authenticator, but yeah.
There's a 30
multi-off everything you possibly can.
Yeah. And also use a VPN.
Yeah.
Or something. Something to...
Yeah, especially if you're going to be doing like anything that is something you absolutely do not want compromised. Yes.
Yeah, any sensitive PII information that you're having to send over the internet.
Yeah. Maybe at some point we'll do something on here that, how to use like OpenVPN if you have like your home environment, configuring it so you can access it from offsite, things like that.
Yeah, that would actually be cool.
We could also do like a kind of tack-on series about like how to, use really ghetto like SSH tunnels and things.
Yeah.
I'm really good at those.
Yep. That's a real cheap, easy solution to do that, where you just SSH and tunnel all of your especially if a site doesn't have, which now it's not as common, but if a site doesn't have port 80 or doesn't have SSL enabled, you can use SSH tunneling to tunnel all of your browser activity, even if it's going through a non-SSL enabled website, to then be encrypted that way.
Mm-hmm.
Who would not have 443 enabled?
Dude.
Like in this day and age, like Google or Chrome is showing everything as unsecure. That's not, SSL or HTTPS now, SSL.
So it's a weird spot. So a lot of organizations will just leave leave a lot of their internal apps or even some of their externally facing apps without an SSL certificate because it's just whatever. Like, I don't know.
In this day and
There's
age,
no reason for it.
if you don't SSL your shit, that's just freaking lazy and incompetent.
Yeah, if you're not, look up Let's Encrypt, and I just say.
I mean, because you have Let's Encrypt, especially if you run a Linux environment, you can automate all that shit, even to certificate renewal, full automation. And you can in Windows, but it's more difficult. But yeah, and you can do all of it for free.
Yeah, it's a thing that you definitely can do. So
yeah,
do it? Question mark.
Yeah. I mean, and Let's Encrypt's been around like 4 or 5 years now.
I know. Has that been that long? I know I used it on DreamHost. I'm a cheap bastard, so I used shared hosting on DreamHost. And it's a couple clicks to the panel, and it automatically does the renewal and everything for you.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So
I have mine. I auto renew mine. Like I don't touch certificates, so screw it.
Yeah, and I believe GoDaddy also has automated certificate renewal because now they're a CA as well. I believe so.
I think GoDaddy's been at CA for quite a while now.
Yeah,
actually.
they've been quite a while. They bought who was that back in the day? If I said it, you'd know it. But they actually bought out one of the biggies here probably 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. And I can't remember who it was. Man, getting old sucks. But yes, that was that Japanese company. Next up. Oh, okay. So now we're going to hit Indiana. Just because, it's Adrian's backyard. So,
what the heck is that name?
I'm pretty sure the same dude who found the stuff Dachenko like 2 months ago. All those open, unsecured databases sitting out in AWS using Shodan. Pretty sure the same dude.
Nice.
But yeah, this time he found personal data on 275,000 Indiana citizens, and
that's a
don't you mean India?
No,
Oh, it is Indian. Oh, never mind. Not Indiana.
Indian.
Yeah,
I should have looked at that better.
You're thinking about the next one because
damn it. Okay.
275,000 Indian citizens is a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not wrong.
That actually Indiana is the next one. This one is Indian citizens. So it's actually 275 million.
Yeah, 275,265,298 records of Indian citizens with personal identifiable information or PII was available online for more than 2 weeks.
Yeah. So yeah, this was fun. Sitting in an AWS bucket, Shodan search, and he found it. Again, block Shodan, start with, and then secure all your shit. Stop leaving unauthenticated access to all your stuff that you are throwing out in the secure cloud.
Stop being lazy. Configure your shit, please.
Yes.
Especially if you're in the cloud.
That's right.
And also figure out if you can have specific ACLs.
That's right. So yes, that was Indian citizens. And now we're dropping into Adrian's backyard.
Just before we move away from this, the information that was disclosed was name, email, gender, education level, area of specialization, professional skills, functional area, mobile phone number, employment history, current employer, date of birth, and current salary of all of them. That is like a dream right there.
Yeah, I mean, like that is essentially somebody popping the IRS or like Social Security here, because Social Security still includes the vast majority of all that also.
Mm-hmm. So more fun Indian stuff.
Yeah. Okay, next up, Indiana Pacers. Good old basketball team. Disclosed security breach.
Wah wah.
Yeah. So the Pacers Sports and Entertainment, PSC, is the legal entity behind the Pacers and the Indiana Fever, NBA, and WNBA basketball teams. Man, that was a mouthful. So they are attributing the breach to a phishing email, and the intrusion occurred between October 15th and December 4th of last year. And
It's a long time to wait for it.
yeah, and they said that they learned of the breach on November 16th. But it was still almost like 2 more weeks after that before the attackers were like out of the network, though. Information included personal records that were affected within the emails, and then exposed information, PSA, and it could include name, address, date of birth, passport number, medical and/or health insurance information, driver's license, state identification number, account number, credit card, debit card number, digital signature, username and password, in some cases, social security numbers. Woo! That was a mouthful.
Yeah, credit monitoring ain't gonna fix that.
No. Yep. So, yeah. And they didn't say, and I didn't go into exactly whose information they have, but I'm figuring it's probably, having all that types of data, probably going to be the basketball players and personnel, for that company.
Well, here's the thing. It could be both. But
Well, yeah.
At first sight, it may appear that it's both. Because if it's in some cases where it's social security numbers, that means that they'll have that on file for an employee. So they might have had it in like a single database or something like that.
Yeah. But what I was getting at with it, though, I think it's more, I don't think they have actual like clients, type of data. I think it's internal data to, players and other employees.
They're even saying that it could be people that registered with the online shop to buy gear and memorabilia.
Oh, I missed that. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, it could potentially affect a lot more people.
The social security numbers mean that it could be their employees. But the credit card information, username, password, that's all like customer stuff. Driver's license, you wouldn't. If you're putting that in to buy a jersey at a store, what's wrong with you?
No, I mean, then again, it might be more employee information.
That's what I'm saying.
I go, yeah. But yeah, driver's license, passport numbers, stuff like that. For executives, and in this case, basketball players would kind of be considered executives. A lot of other people will often do the back end items and fill forms out and submit information. So, other people within the organization could definitely have their information. Fun. Okay, what's vulnerability of the week?
All right, I gotta close up my Taco Bell here. Hang on one second. Not sponsored.
Yet.
All right. So this week, and we'll get into more of these in kind of a named mention here, has been very, 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 very heavily on huge vulnerabilities that have come out. So I could have picked from like 4 of them. However, this one caught my eye because of people complaining about the name, as it's 3 cat emojis.
Sad face.
So sad face cat emojis.
Yeah.
They're not sad. They're angry.
Angry face. Yeah.
So high risk vulnerability. in Cisco's secure boot process impacts millions of devices. And I say millions, or they say millions because they're freaking right. If you go to there's a couple, so the article there that's posted kind of goes into the big impact of everything.
Was this the one we were talking about last week with the 9000s?
No, this is a
Oh,
different
this is new.
Oh, well, it's
Yeah.
even.
So here
Awesome.
we go. This affects everything down from Cisco 16, iOS 16, I think it was. Where was that article that I found? I saw this in a different article. But essentially what it's doing, if I bring back up the show notes because I wrote this down, an attacker with root privileges on the device can modify the contents of the anchor bit stream. So that's something that basically says, hey, do this from a hardware level, which is stored in unprotected flash memory. And then you can then manipulate that bit stream to then modify or disable critical functionality of settings on the network devices. And then with that successful modification, you can also disable the trust anchor, which then disables any boot sequences. So you basically disable secure boot and a bunch of other stuff. You can lock out any software updates as well with this. So that's a big deal, which is why people are saying, do this now. Like, because that's bad. As far as the scope of this and how widespread is this, the vulnerability affects Cisco products with an FPGA-based TAM. Cisco released the following list of more than 100 product families with this vulnerability. That means there are a shit ton of these out there. So all Cisco ASA 5500 series, Cisco Firepower 2100 series, Cisco Firepower, 10 routing. Just these are all the routers and switches for enterprise. Just all of these. And
So in other words, it's all the way from the borders to the switches.
Oh yeah, it's literally your entire network. If you are running a Cisco environment right now, you are not only forget physical access to a router, because you can also do this remotely. You can have this exploit done remotely on your stuff, which I believe they mention here. So the Angry Kitty or the Angry Cat is caused by a series of hardware-based design flaws within Cisco's Trust Anchor module. It was introduced in 2013. So if you've had a network that was built out with new gear that was either released in 2013 or later, you are your environments are vulnerable to this attack. So
nobody obviously would have gear that new. Come on.
Yeah, so 2013. I mean, yeah.
So essentially anything that Cisco still
might have been
slaps a warranty on, that will still
Pretty
support.
much.
I think it was this one that stated whichever version. It essentially is just doing remote coding execution into iOS 16.x or something like that, and messing with the hardware's memory to then do boot changes. So you can essentially just not let it boot from this and your root on it. So you can literally do whatever you want with this attack. It's a pretty standard RCE remote code execution. And it's a 2 vulnerability pair. So with that one vulnerability where you're bypassing the trust anchor and the field program gate array or FPGA, and you're manipulating the bit stream, you can then do code injection onto any iOS XE version 16, and that code execution will be running as root. So say you're on, you find one of these devices that are externally facing to the network. You would then modify that bit stream, put in your remote code execution to then call out to, say, a command and control server, to then have a reverse shell back to that box, or just start exfiltrating any sort of network data that you can. Who knows? It's a big thing, and it's going to be pretty much, if if you search any of these devices, you're going to find at least a couple thousand of them instantly. So have fun.
Okay, Shodan.
And that's the
Enjoy.
smaller vulnerability that we found this week, that came out this week. Because I'm like, I'm not talking about all this stuff. All right, so that's vulnerability of the week. There hasn't been a disclosure of proof of concept yet. Cisco is taking it seriously, which leads me to believe that it does exist, and it has been demonstrated by the red balloon security, which I don't remember who they are hiring, by the way. Red balloon security. So kudos to them.
Where's Red Balloon located out of? Anybody know?
Why does their site look like something out of 2003?
I don't know. Kind of reminds me of like what was that little girl who came out of the well?
You mean It?
No, that was a clown. No, the one where you like watch the TV show and then she came
The Ring?
Yeah, The Ring. Yeah, kind of reminds me of that type of a feeling.
Yeah, so I think this is just they don't have any. They don't have any address stuff on here. Weird. Anyway.
Well, I mean, they might be most likely remote.
That's what my thought is. So. Oh well. But anyway, go check this out. I will be looking for more POC of this as it comes out. I kind of looked at this just today, and the main reason that I wanted the vulnerability of the week is because it's 3 angry cats is the name of this thing. It's literally emojis. That's what we're doing now. All right, whatever.
So
Anyway. Go for it.
So yeah, like how many more of these do we need before people like start moving like away from Cisco equipment? Is my question.
Do you know of any better alternatives to Cisco for enterprise level?
I don't know.
Nope.
Isn't Facebook working on something that supposedly is going to be like the open? Isn't it like the Open Rack project or something?
Who is that again? Sorry.
Facebook, I think, is working on some like.
Really?
Hell no.
Is it that bad? I haven't looked into it. So is it worse?
Once you say Facebook and it's Facebook networking gear, data privacy, you kind of have a bad taste in your mouth.
Hey, I've seen some nice racks on Facebook.
I'm sure you have, Adrian.
Not those kind of skid racks.
I'm sure you have, Adrian. Anyway, that's the angry cat. Or 3 angry cats.
Oh, for routing and switching, not Ubiquity.
Ubiquity is another good one, but they're more in the home solution side of things right now.
Well, yes and no. They're high for high end for home. They're more SMB, but shit. What is that company? They have a NAT.
Palo Alto is another one too. I mean,
Yeah, Palo for the firewall, but who's the big competitor against Cisco ICE now on the NAT side? Crap.
Honestly, I have no idea.
If I can ever think of it, they actually have some really good routing and switching gear.
Juniper?
Juniper's not bad. It's not Juniper, though.
Okay, from YouTube chat, someone put in Hawaii.
Well,
Oh,
mess with Hawaii at your own risk because
Sure. Sure, if I want to
you-
backdoor to the Chinese government.
yeah,
sure.
you can go Huawei that all you want. No.
Wow,
no.
sorry.
Well, no. I think today the president just authorized sanctions against anybody that has any dealings with China as far as technology is concerned. So
Mhm.
do it at your own risk.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't touch Huawei with a 10-foot pole.
Not after that, no.
isn't TP-Link also Chinese?
Yes, I think they are.
Aw,
They absolutely are.
they're so
Fuck.
cheap though. They're so great.
just Jack.
I mean,
Well,
if you're just gonna buy like a dumb hub, who cares? But
Well,
I got
fuck.
one of
Well,
their-
fuck my
Aruba.
Oh yeah, Aruba. But my power links that I have that plug into my wall to my distant switch, they're TP links.
Yeah. I mean, one good thing with the PoEs, the power over Ethernets, I've never seen anything backdoor related, any
No,
claims. So
No, it's not. It's not power over Ethernet. It's like I just plug it into 2 outlets and the signal travels over the.
Oh, the power line thingies.
Yeah.
or yeah, power line. But yeah.
Yeah.
And those actually work really well. I had a
Mhm.
location that I did full like probably 200-foot runs and used that as opposed to spending 20 grand to wire the whole place up. Spent like $300 on those and I was done.
You just get like a couple like 100-foot cables and you just drape them across your floor and maybe like thumbtack them or tack them down to your wall, around the doorway.
Yeah.
That's what I do in my apartment. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember having to do that in my college dorm and my college apartment. Ugh. That was an expensive cable.
That was an expensive cable.
It went from the front of my apartment, so like to the door where the network switch was, all the way to the back and like draped around walls and everything to my office or to my bedroom, which is also my office, that then draped around my bed on the left side, went around the back of the bed, or keeping going along the wall, and then went into my computer.
So I have like 2 24 porters. I have one in my office and then one at I have like a server rack in my living room because I have nowhere else to put it in my 2-bedroom apartment. And I have a similar setup going on. Goes everywhere. I'll have to tweet some pictures at some point.
Space heater for the winter right there.
Oh, dude, I got like spark boxes and all kinds of crazy crap that'll heat up my place. Yeah.
That's how one of my not to deviate even further for too long. One of my friends, when he was Bitcoin mining, he set up a Bitcoin miner in the middle of his apartment. Didn't turn on the heat for a whole winter, and I think it was gas. Or no, it might have been an electric heater. But he just set that going for forever, and he had heat for the whole winter. Something was just kicking out heat.
Did he
See,
use
that
video
was-
cards or?
Video cards.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah,
thing
they
about that
would get
though,
hot,
is
hot.
that your computer efficiency rating then gets turned on its head. See, because it's not efficiency of compute anymore. It's like you're like thinking about like heater efficiency, So like
Right.
I think like the less efficient computers are going to be the better. Anymore, it's like
Well, I mean, you can buy like old Power Edge gear, or so
Yeah.
like Dell Power Edge servers. Like I bought my 2U for like $100. That thing will kick out heat.
But I mean like all your heat is, your heat efficiency goes way down because all that, efficiency is wasted by all that pesky compute, all that energy get eaten by that pesky compute.
Yeah, let me just remove my the top of my server and the heat sinks and all of that real quick.
I
Nice. Okay, I threw some vulnerable stuff on here. Not going to go through everything in depth, but there's an RCE for Linux. This article is actually saying that it's more easy to execute than what I was originally seeing, because earlier in the week it was being assigned a lower score by NIST, but now it's up to like 8.1. But there's a race condition, and it's like every Linux kernel since
Prior to
508. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a fun one. Oh,
Potential hackers could exploit the security flaw found in Linux RDS TCP kill socket TCP/IP implementation. Trigger DOS states execute code remotely on Linux machines. Okay, so it's another. Let me ping the socket really fast, really quick, and give you a bunch of code and run it, please.
Yep.
Pretty much that is, and at a high level, what that one's doing. Next.
Next up, remote desktop services, as usual, are vulnerable to something. This time, again, it's an RCE. Do not allow desktop services to touch the internet, and if possible, shut them off.
Well, this one's for Windows XP. They're actually patching it still.
Yeah, they will patch XP in certain circumstances if China asks, and then also because XP is still fully supported in China.
Ports.
Yeah, but then this one is on the WannaCry level, and they want to prevent that. And so, yeah, they're even patching all the way back to XP.
So what's the port number for RDP? Real quick.
3389.
That's what 389.
That's what I thought it was. Oh, I can't use filters. Hang on. Now log in.
Hold on while he scans the whole internet.
Hold on. 3389. There are.
Yep, 3389.
So just for perspective, that 3,912,826 devices with port 3389 on the internet.
But some of them are in Google Cloud. Someone is actually they're modern enough that they're running Google Cloud, but they have RDP. open. That's amazing.
Well,
fantastic.
Actually, believe it or not, there's a use for that, and I used to use it back in the day when I would have seed boxes for torrents. No, seriously, I would remote into a server. I would download my torrent, and I would go to sleep, and I'd wake up, and then hey.
It's also important to note that only 2,000, 2,400 of these have Windows XP. Most of them being still within the United States. But here's
I like the one with the screenshot. That's amazing.
Yeah, they're fun.
If they're not already screwed, they're screwed now, because now I'm showing this live to about 7 different people.
Oh yeah, that's Chinese.
Have you ever seen null sessions available from external?
Yes. It's a lot. Oh my god, desktop protocol. I like how the one had. I'm gonna probably get kicked here for a second. Nope, here's another one. Server 2003. That's a different one. Or it just scanned another one. No, it's a different one. And it's probably gonna say nope. Okay. Of course, the last one's Dutch.
Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be?
Nah, they're. Oh my gosh, they're on a different level of screwed at some point.
China.
China. Who can do the best from China?
China.
Going on a Shodan Safari is freaking depressing. I mean, just look for forward exposed VNC also. I mean, it's all over the place.
Oh, hell yeah. 5,900.
Yep. 445 is another good one. There's a couple of good Google dorks as well that I like to throw around. Getting database credentials via Google is hilarious.
Oh, my.
Well, yeah, 445 is was it Microsoft DS, which was it NetBIOS? I believe it was.
Yeah, so that's the SMB,
Yep.
which is only 1,710,509 devices, with 471,000 of those being in the U.S. How? And then the Russians are second with 267,000. Okay.
Nice.
At least author. What?
I said nice.
No. What? SMB status authentication disabled. SMB v1.
Oh, that is awesome.
That's bad.
This is always.
Oh no,
pretty
that might
weird
be
chat.
somebody's honeypot.
Honeypot.
That's a honeypot. Russia storage public IPC. Oily.
Nice.
So like, if you leave like a honeypot open to the internet and you have like on your SMB server honeypot and you leave like remote administration tools on it and people install those, when you use those, are you like still at fault there?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's technically hacking back.
Huh. Good to know. Not that I'd ever do.
Yeah. We would never condone that, wink.
Yeah, never.
Never ever. Okay, next up, WhatsApp. So this one's kind of cool. And apparently WhatsApp just, for a lot of users, doesn't automatically update. So if you use WhatsApp, know people who do, make them aware. If they receive a series of telephone calls or a series of calls from individuals they didn't know, they could have been targeted in this attack. They are attributing this to Israel and an attack starting from Israel or originating. But the way it works is once they continuously call the phone, essentially a buffer overflow occurs, and then it will allow remote code to execute. So WhatsApp is advising everybody to update immediately.
Yeah. So
I
this
did
is
as soon as I saw that.
Yeah.
This is another one. Yikes.
We got Liz. Yo.
We have our lizard friend with baby lizards?
Blep, blep, blep.
Those look like crescent rolls.
Croissant.
They are. They are
Oh,
crescent
okay.
rolls.
Nice.
They are, but they're shaped as lizards.
I like it. They look like mini dragons.
They are.
Okay, good. I'm like 2 for 2.
You are.
He's on fire today.
Sweet.
They also look like they're slightly yellow.
They're baked goods. What do you expect?
Thought I could get another. They are.
No, I only get the they are. Thank you.
Got it. I'm not.
Okay, the last two, not going to dive deep into them because we've been talking about this for a year. But the whole Spectre meltdown type of thing, actually, that's been going on for 2 years now, I think.
About a year.
Has it only been a year?
It's only been a year because it was first disclosed back in February of 2018.
February. Okay.
Right when I joined the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead.
This is a whole vulnerability. So I know I just joined the cast with on earlier. This is the vulnerability section, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you cover the chosen prefix attack on SHA-1 that finally just got published?
No, missed that one.
Yeah. So chosen prefix attack, for those who don't know, is a type of hashing collision where you can choose the contents of the file or the data you want, for the most part, that will eventually, with a few modifications, have the same hash as your desired hash. This is the extremely bad kind of things for if file integrity checks are being done on SHA-1, then a malicious file can have the same hash. And it'll
Yeah, I
pass
like
the check
that.
just fine.
That's
So yeah,
pretty fun.
I'll post a link shortly. You can put on the stream notes or whatever.
I've got one.
But okay, yeah, it's extremely bad. Those listening, don't use SHA-1. God, don't use MD5. Fucking like a decade ago in college, my professor was showing something called evilize.exe, and he did this MD5 collision with his quote-unquote evil file with the desired hash, and apparently, as a bonus, it also had a CRC32 collision for the same file. Complete coincidence.
You know, I was just going to use MD5 like yesterday. You know, I mean, no,
People
until you
use it
said
all
that,
the fucking time.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
SHA-256.
Thank you for
Use
warning me
SHA-256.
about, you know. No, I was joking.
I know. There was actually a period of time for certain devices where implementation issues made MD5 and selective circumstances stronger than SHA-1 for certain networking vendor devices. Cisco a few years back had a weird bug.
I think we lost him, Jim.
It's Cisco still.
Or
Oh, sorry.
what?
I was like, is Cisco still using MD5 for their hashing? I hope not, because I'm pretty
It's an option. It's an option.
Yeah,
an option
it's still an
still?
option. And a lot of the time, if you are upgrading and just pulling your previous config off the old switch or router up to the new one, that will come on over with it.
Okay.
Yeah, which most administrators do.
MD5.
Yeah, and hardly any administrators go back and actually, correct the encryption. Good old migrations. But real quick, yeah, just on the Intel side, yeah, it's the same type of stuff. MITRE or Meltdown and Spectre. More Intel-based vulnerabilities.
Speculative branch. Is it still speculative branch?
I think so.
Side channeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one is Fallout speculative execution. But yeah.
Yes, it's doing the same thing.
Yeah, just a new doorway to do it. And I think, was this? I didn't read into it enough to know if you have to be local or if it's also remote, but
You'd have to be local.
yeah, I think
you'd
so.
have to be, but here's the thing: for you to be local, you could have an auto run script to then do like a call out to another
Wherever
server.
you want.
Yeah, exactly. Or you could just have it scrape information from it. You could use this for all kinds of stuff. You could just have it delete sys32 if you wanted to. Ironically, the recent countermeasures introduced by Intel in the recent Coffee Lake refresh i9 CPUs to prevent meltdown make them more vulnerable to fallout compared to older generation hardware.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's funny. Yeah,
Nice.
like actually the XP systems and stuff like that are less vulnerable to this.
Why is
Like-
Intel just eternally BTFO'd with this stuff?
Well, because here's the thing with all the side channeling stuff. This is something that is about as old as I am, at least in theory.
So like
And-
13, 14 years old.
No, 96, but okay. No, there was a paper that was written in 96 on how speculative branching would be the downfall of basically secured processors in a way, because what they literally outlined in the paper, and I'll find it again here eventually, was exactly what Spectre and Meltdown did. And now if I look more into these, will be probably even more so the same thing. Well, they're using most website advertising can steal data on other programs. Yeah, so if anything's running on your machine, so even if it's a browser or something like that, that's how a lot of the POC for Spectre and Meltdown was used. Was through vulnerable JavaScript stuff, which then Chrome was like, "Yep, nope, we're not letting you do that anymore."
There you go. And then last one on here for vulnerable stuff is I just said patch everything. It's the link that I've been throwing up here every week for the US CERT and just their classification of vulnerabilities and just go through a shit ton of vulnerable systems.
Cisco.
Yeah.
Cisco. Yeah, this all looks very.
Yeah. So it's fairly up to date. This will usually, because they do try to assign, the CVSS scores and associate the CVEs. So this one is up to like 5, I think May 9th or so, I think is the most recent on here. So
this will be a big one here. This PHP one that they have here. That's for image manipulation within websites. And if you're running a PHP site and you're not using a magic, so like if you're using a site that is using PHP and you have like a little thumbnail after you upload a picture, it's actually creating on the back end those different versions of those images by using this module. I've somewhat used it in the past. So that's a big deal. That's going to be a big scoped. That'll have a larger scope, but it's only at 7.5.
Right? That's I assume they mean image magic, right?
Yeah. Imagic.
Yeah, which is front end, I guess, to image magic. So this it probably is. Image magic is the one that I've
I thought that was the whole package. But you also have to enable.
That's what she said.
You also have to enable that in PHP itself. It's not on by default, but
sure. It might pull in some extra dependencies because that looks an awful lot like image magic. It even ends with the K. So it's probably what they're using down at the lower level.
Yeah.
It's been referred to. It's if it is, which it probably is. They've had plenty of vulnerabilities before.
Oh yeah.
It's been named image tragic by some people. So, but it's really powerful. So people fast. So people keep using it. So yeah.
If you want to do image manipulation, it's the module to use.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's used in other things. I've used it. I worked at a website that used it in a Perl backend to image magic.
We know you worked at a porn site.
I said Perl, not porn. But it's like the same thing to me. I mean, I really like Perl, so.
Oh, that's disgusting. I'm sorry. Hey, you are a unique individual. I'm glad there's somebody out there who loves Perl.
Larry's a pretty cool guy. I met him. I like
Shouldn't you be like double your age to be into Perl?
That's what I understood. You have to be at least 48 plus to be into Perl.
Dude, I'm like 23.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Adrian, you can click off of me because that is all the stuff that...
We are on to Sweet Home.
Oh, yes. I told you about that video earlier.
On Twitter?
Oh, the donut dude?
Yes. Hold on a second. This is my hometown. I got bats at this upcoming con I'm at because I need to bring her some Snorties. I got some yellow Snorties recently. She collects Snorties for whatever reason.
That sounds like another name for Coke.
Not that kind of thing. I mean the little thing from Snort, the little piggy.
Oh, okay, sure.
Oh,
yeah.
I painted one orange once. I painted one orange once and gave it to Toupee and called it Trumpy and gave it to her. She was still amused. Anyway, here's something from my hometown.
Funny. I mean, I feel bad for the officers that got caught in this shitstorm, but they seem to be in good spirits about it. Officer Cody Richardson with the Jeffersonville Police Department gets a call for backup on an officer who has stopped somebody on a DUI. He pulls up on scene, and there is poo all over the place. Human doo-doo is everywhere.
Yeah, we have feces all over us. So that came out the bottom.
What? It turns out the guy didn't want to do the field sobriety test, got pissed off, turned around, yanked his pants down, and shit all over the deputy.
So that's how that happened. Yeah. All right. That's a new one.
Oh.
Your result? Yeah, 0.2 up here. Almost 3 times the legal limit.
If you look at the evidence on the ground there, it looks like there's a good 4 or 5 foot stream of poo. I would consider that shots fired and maybe even give a little pepper spray. Spray me, I'll spray you back. He was driving drunk.
You hear what he said, though?
Starfish there. You want to spray me? I'll spray you back. He was driving drunk, hit something, pooed on the officer, and then tried to convince them to let him go.
I go free.
Oh, and then he shits on himself again.
So he just used the bathroom. So.
And then he tries to kick the poor Ambu drivers.
Are you gonna kick me?
After dealing with officers for probably around 45 minutes now, he finally realizes that they are police.
Not police.
See? Police. And he loves it.
I don't either.
They charged him with something that I've never seen before, and that's battery by bodily waste. What a shitty situation. Next up, we have Deputy Nick Carmack with the Pasco County Sheriff.
There you go.
They truly have something in the books for everything, don't they?
Wow.
Well, I mean, if they got a law for it, that means that at one point in time it's actually happened.
Well, yeah, most places would probably charge you with aggravated assault for that, because that could be considered a deadly weapon. You know, bodily waste.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
The next thing in the show notes is on Tuck. Tuck, do you have the show notes up?
I do have the show notes up. Notes, not nuts.
I always feel my nuts.
These nuts.
That's
and
right.
demonetized.
Montezon is displeased with us. So yeah, I can't screen share because my browser no screen sharing. So if Caprico, if you'd like to bring it up, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe.
give me 1 second here. I just got to bring that up. So GitHub helpers, yoink. Adrian,
I only have
if
one
you want to
helper.
click on this, if you want to click on my screen again.
I click you long time.
Thank you. Oh.
Very, very long time.
All right, so what is this?
So I made some helpers because GitHub, as it turns out, I didn't realize this, has a massive load balancer. And if you want to do an automated deployment of some of your, I don't know, if you're doing like reverse shell stuff or whatever, and like let's say you have some master repository, right, for your authorized keys for your fancy reverse shell setup, right? So the problem is, if you're, let's say you have a reverse shell on, on like an LTE enabled, I don't know, Raspberry Pi that you've totally, had permission to put on the back of this car or something, right? Right. So
Totally.
if that, yeah, totally. So like if that Raspberry Pi, if it, moves locations or just the load of the GitHub service dictates that, you get assigned a different server, SSH is going to be like, yo, I can't automatically do this because you got to whitelist everything in known hosts. So it'll completely break your automation. But luckily, GitHub has enabled you to, they have an API for that. They actually have an API endpoint. It's their meta endpoint that has a little block of stuff in it that lists all of their subnets and IPs that they have Git servers on. So my little script it's a little Python script, and it goes and it queries that with the built-in requests thingy in Python, and it uses a really neat module called ipcalc to calculate the list of IPs from those subnets, and then it barfs out a giant but valid known hosts file with all those added to it. So you can append it to the end of your known host file, .ssh known hosts, and you can now have the ability to use all the GitHub servers.
Nice.
So
It actually is cool.
So it's
Yeah,
API.
they're like, yeah.
I'm looking it up right now because I want to pull this up to show it as well, because that's a cool tool. So here is what that looks like.
Yep. So when that you actually no, it's the one above it. It's the Git block.
Right.
There.
So right in here.
Yeah. So when you actually calculate that out, that's over 6,000 IPs. So right now, my script isn't smart enough to do like globbing on the subnets, because you can actually glob like with the SSH known host file. You can have a star like a wildcard, but I haven't worked that in yet because I'll have to make better use of the calculator to do that. But for now, it barfs out a 6,000 plus line file, but it works.
Nice.
And with that file, you're able to automatically pull things from any GitHub server. And they all use the same fingerprint, so it's really easy. So I just have like a static string that's like hard coded into my code, and it just puts that same fingerprint, that same public key on all the lines. So it's pretty simple what it's doing. This is actually part of a larger suite of software that I'm working on for work. I haven't gotten I have some red tape to go through to get the full go ahead to strip out our company specific parts and release it as open source, but they seemed receptive to doing this. So I'm working on actually like a nice kind of automated reverse shell package that will allow you to have an agent running on any machine that you want to reverse shell out of, and there's a command and control server that actually brokers like ports to forward to.
Right.
And you'll be able to query, it queries that server, and then it patches through an SSH tunnel. And then once that's done, you can then on your end query that server, and you get presented with the port, and I actually have a little wrapper that uses the server as a jump host. After it queries it, and it gives you a shell right in.
This is actually cool. This is dope because right now we have something similar to this at work, but we have it so that it only does the connect back to our port from it, like an internal box that will send out. So it will do a thing back, but then we have to do a manual jump to that server from our box. So we'll do the jump. We'll SSH into the command and control server that has that port calling back to it. And then we'll jump to it and say, go to that port. And that we SOX proxy, everything like that. But having it automated like this is actually really cool.
It's pretty dope. So what I do is I have so most of the scripts in the software, like the agent that runs, so I work at an IoT company, and we have a lot of Raspberry Pis. And that's basically my software is the next generation of our remote access tool. I've written it. It's mostly Bash code, like the agent that runs on the remote machines. But the command and control server has a little tiny Python program that actually there's a service account that actually has my my script run as a shell. It's that user's shell. So you
maybe try not giving out your company's technical secrets over live stream.
No, this is going to be released. This is my implementation. It doesn't matter because this shell has all it does is it literally just barfs out a port number for you to forward to.
All right.
So there is a SQLite database that lives in a RAM disk that stores the relationships to like each device's like MAC address, and it maps it to a port. So the port number, I have a table that the primary key is the port number. It starts. I do some hacks to start it at port 2000, which is there's some magic like queries you make to the database to do that for SQLite, and then it just starts counting up, and your machine gets a port. It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I will be as soon as I get to go ahead and I clean up the code and release it, I will be I will be shilling it pretty hard on my Twitter. So look forward to that.
Nice.
And, that's it. That's it for me. I think you guys will really, really like it. because it has automatic port assignment and connections. The hardest part about making something like that was dealing with because I also have it automatically get authorized, public keys, from remote lockdown repository. So the hardest part of making this whole thing was dealing with permissions, because SSH, the SSH daemon is really, really picky about permissions. But it'll just not let you use a key if it isn't set to like 600, permissions, for example.
Cool.
Fun.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll maybe do a little video about that or something. I don't know. Write an article.
Yeah, definitely follow Tux on Twitter, and you can check out all that as it is released.
Yeah, I think the handle is Tux Loves You. Is that how you say it?
Yes, I am at Tux Loves You on Twitter.
And
Also
that's-
known as Andrew Rogers.
Yes.
Not like Loves You Long Time or anything?
Yes. There's I think Capricorn's showing it.
Yep. So
And
Tux
that's
loves
my
you.
Twitter.
Oh,
I retweet some things that make me appear smart, and and I also talk about things I'm working on at the time. You can scroll down and see my setup right now. I'm streaming from. There you go. Wow.
He's not kidding. This is right now.
That's funny. Hey, there I am.
He's not kidding. That is right now.
That better not be a screenshot.
My camera on my phone is so fuzzy that you really can't read any text on screen at all. But you get the idea.
Nice.
I like how your CRT monitor is a stand for
No, that's actually functional. That's my Apple II GS's monitor. So I actually use that. I use that as a terminal emulator. So I actually have a serial console going to that whenever I turn it on. It's just I have it turned off right now because I'm not using it.
Huh.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't want to leave it on all the time though, because burning and whatnot.
Yeah.
And the heat that it kicks off.
Yup. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
I need to get a better desk.
Well, this desk was free. I think I got this this from the Mormon temple. It was some in their trash, and I have it. I converted it into a so this is like from their laundry room. It's a really short desk that they use to like fold clothes on, and I put it on top of some crates to make it a standing desk. So it's pretty magical. So as long as you have a vehicle that's big enough to bring, to fit furniture in, you can score a lot of nice, some pretty nice shit, that you can use. So there's always free furniture.
Yeah, we all love the good old Hackintoshes. This is a Hackindeskin.
Yeah,
That's a Hackindisk.
yeah.
Awesome.
And I got the Kinesis keyboard is important. It's very important.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was. I'm like, I haven't seen one like that in a while.
So that one's actually kind of special because it actually does both the PCAT interface. Yeah, it's pretty old, and the ADB interface. It can actually work with the Apple II GS as well.
Oh man.
It has a Mac and a PC mode, but do not plug it into both computers at once. I found that out the hard way. Like all my key bindings and macros just got erased from memory, and the thing went berserk.
I must overwrite all the memory.
Well, I think that the
Nice.
PCAT and the Apple desktop bus operate at different voltages, and I don't think they open up the circuit when you switch modes.
Because
Like-
they didn't think about that back in the day.
Well, they didn't think that you'd use it like as a kind of sort of KVM thing. They didn't think you'd be plugging into two computers at once, because back then you had like a giant CRT on your desk, and you usually only had one computer at your desk at a time. So, you either had it plugged into a Mac or plugged into a PC. Yeah.
Nice.
Anyways, cool stuff.
Awesome.
I think the next thing is me.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, I just recently started getting active on LinkedIn, and I just want to see this is my else's experience. I got so many fucking people contacting me asking, do I want this cert or that cert? And I'm like, not particularly. Is that just me or is that everybody?
That's everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I get contacted by recruiters and stuff all the time. I was talking about this earlier, but some school, a college actually asked me if I wanted to be a professor there, and I'm like, what? You're not doing your research well enough here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me as a LARP, I actually clicked on a job posting, and 5 minutes later, my old friend called me up and was like, my wife won't let me hire you, so why'd you click on it? I was like, you really see that?
His wife won't let him hire you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adrian, right now the only thing that they're seeing is my glorious logo. If you want to deselect me so they can see everyone.
It is glorious though.
I got rid of LinkedIn like years ago because aside from the constant data breaches, and data breaches and also lack security, siphoning your contacts, all that fun shit.
Yeah.
I got nothing but crap from them, nothing but recruiters trying to add me to their list, and the sole reason they're trying to add you to the list is so they can siphon off your contacts too, because if they add you, they can see who you're connected with. So
Yeah,
I didn't get shit from it.
recruiters really suck. I mean,
Oh,
I
hell
know a couple, IT recruiters. I know one person who specializes in security in this area, but that's it. Like for all of Columbus, for 1 million plus place, inhabited location, one. But I tell you what, recruiters from small to medium sized businesses and even some large just have no clues, especially whenever it comes to security, what they're talking about.
Well, it's because they're primarily sales, which is wrong.
Yes.
They are part of sales, but they also need to have at least some understanding of what they're recruiting for.
Yeah.
Oh, not really, because the way it was explained to me was you can teach a salesman security, but you can't teach a security person sales.
Well, yes, but as I'm saying, they need some knowledge of what they're recruiting for. Not a ton, but that's the problem. Is they're just in they're salesmen or they're wannabe HR, which they're not HR.
Correct. Yeah, I had some lady down out of Cincinnati. They're starting a newer business, or they're expanding, and she sent me something saying, "Hey, we're looking for a analyst." I'm like, that was like 10 years ago. Sorry. And she's like, "Oh, but this analyst will oversee all the security within our organization and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Well, then you are not looking for an analyst." And still, the answer is no. But you need to understand, you are looking for something 100% different than an analyst.
Yeah, I've dealt with ones before where they're what was it? Shit, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, it's gone. Damn it. I'm sure it'll come back to me.
Where they're looking for somebody who's on an engineering level, but they want to pay analyst pay.
Yeah.
In other words, like that job interview with that unknown bank that's locally here wanted to do to me, and I was like, "What the fuck? You better pump that up and good luck."
Yeah, you need to at least double that before I talk to you.
Well, not just low pay, which is common, but they will just keyword match on you, and they won't even read your resume. They won't even read it until they first talk to you. Like they'll send stuff out en masse, and then not read your resume at all before again talking to you. I have just gamed the system by putting in my resume at white text at the bottom, where it's AI developer, just to absolutely trash it. And I mean, it junks them up, and it's fun to watch because oh yeah, with all this experience doing AI machine learning, I'm like, where did I do that?
Cloud.
Oh, that's right. You didn't fucking read my resume, did you? Get the fuck out.
So we saw the fluffy referenced on your resume. What did you mean by the fluffy?
10 years 5G experience.
True stories. Oh,
I actually created 5G.
Indeed.
10 years ago. It's freaking awesome.
Why not 15 years ago?
Because at that point I was still working out the bugs in 4G. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's
that's
pretty
the
awesome.
reason why it sucks.
You're welcome.
So, Opinion Discarded has a question for Tux. Tux, Microsoft Build Conference. They want to know about that.
Yeah. My good buddy Opinion Discarded. Wink, wink. Put that there. Yeah.
AKA
So
Tux.
I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah. So yeah, I had a good time at the Microsoft Build Conference. Ask me anything.
Did you build anything?
Well, I did play with their new computer vision, like machine learning. Oh, some of those buzzwords again. API for their for Azure, and I had to go back to my booth, but I was almost done making it track a yellow construction hat with their new computer vision dev kit.
Wait, so were you developing this for Paris?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Too soon?
Yeah, was that too soon?
Wow. Yeah, very, very too soon.
So yeah, so I got to talk to them. I know this isn't really exactly 100% InfoSecchi, but I don't know. I did talk to the Windows Subsystem for Linux devs, some of the guys like overseeing that project. Got to talk to them about Windows Subsystem for Linux 2, and how they're using Hyper-V to, basically. I think the main reason they switched off of doing a compatibility layer, kind of like Wine, for Windows Subsystem for Linux, was because the file system, just translating like the Unix ACLs to NTFS stuff it was just too much. It was too slow, and so they're now like mainlining a lot. They're mainlining a lot of cool stuff to make the computers talk. So it'll be a VM, but it'll behave like the old system. And also they're working on a new terminal emulator, because cmd.exe kind of sucks. I don't know if you guys heard about that new terminal emulator.
Yeah, we looked at that last week with just the video or like the trailer that they made for it.
Well, I could tell you didn't check your DMs, homie.
I did not check my DM.
I played with it IRL, and it's still got some bugs, but they're working on it.
Wait. For anybody who's over the age of 35 like me, IRL is in real life.
Yes. No, I
or never played a video game in the last 10 years.
I just like to point out how old I am.
Yeah,
but we all know ASL, right?
They're also doing what's kind of cool is they're gonna be eating AWS's lunch, because it seems like AWS is less Amazon seems to be less open to running their their stack on like the edge, and Microsoft's like, sure. So they'll ship appliances now with running like all their Azure and Hyper-V stuff.
Yeah, but honestly, the only way that you mean from like an Azure perspective?
Mm-hmm.
The only way they would ever come close to overtaking AWS is if they have some type of clean migration path. I mean, and it needs to be clean, because the vast majority of companies have so much money invested within AWS and their infrastructures. To rip and replace is, just going to be massive amounts of money.
But I do think they are. They definitely are in many ways leading the way in Internet of Things, cloud infrastructure. They're doing some really interesting stuff with that. They're going to be. They're working on finishing up. Oh, they have it out. It's their IoT Central. It's like a way you can make dashboards for your IoT gear without having to be a front end dev. And it's still maturing right now. They're working on. They still haven't made it mature enough to like have a stable API. But they'll be there in the summer. I think the end of this summer they'll have something, which will be interesting, because now you won't have to. You can just focus on your back-end application code and the code that runs on your IoT devices, and you won't have to hire a bunch of front-end devs. So that'll be interesting. Not sure what else did I see. Trying to think. I met some Slack devs. That was kind of funny.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah. That's it, I guess, on that.
And I think that's about all we have in the show notes. So, open discussion, because I'd like to make this at least 2 hours.
Yeah, it's like a half hour for open discussion now.
Liz, you were at a con, right?
No, was out training.
Oh, okay.
That said, there was something I did want to say. For those who have been in meme culture for a while, press F at the death of YTMND.
Pay
What?
respects.
Oh,
Yo. Press F to pay respects.
Yes.
What?
For those who are
Why?
not familiar, YTMND was really big for memes for a while, about a decade ago, a little over a decade ago. And for those who were really big in the culture back then, it was, the seminal website.
It was a really easy way to make an audiovisual meme, and unfortunately, it was fucking hot garbage. But
I mean, everything was garbage back then. It was just slightly less garbage than everything else. It just
Newgrounds.
remained garbage while things improved.
I like Newgrounds.
Yeah.
Newgrounds are still around and still fun, still as OC though.
Still
Oh, yeah.
flashy. With Flash.
Yes, and a little bit of HTML5, but yes, there is still the cancer as Flash on there.
I think there was talk about Homestar Runner switching over to HTML5 at some point, but that's gonna be a lot of work for them.
Absolutely, but it needs to be done.
How else am I gonna see Trogdor the Burninator once Flash is just completely dead?
Whenever someone played the video on YouTube and has it up there, that's how.
Look,
You can't click on
look.
the
By that
Easter egg.
time, eventually, every website's going to load its own. It's going to load several operating systems and some shitty JavaScript emulator, mostly to load various kinds of advertisements. And I'm sure on one of those VMs you can play Homestar Runner and Flash.
Yes. I have to stomp all the peasants. It's very important.
Exactly. Homestar Runner and the other Flash games. Not that this stuff was Flash games, but still.
Speaking of dragons, how'd you like Game of Thrones? I think this is the best season ever.
Not really.
I am not caught up at all, so I will just take off my headphones until someone messages me.
Oh, never mind then.
I've never seen it, at least not yet. But from what people were saying, most people I know, it seems like, have not liked the season, but they loved that last episode on Sunday.
Oh, see, I hate that episode.
I didn't. I wanted somebody to get shanked, and I didn't.
Well, they got one episode left, so I'm sure someone will be shanked in the next episode. Well,
No.
technically
Jack.
someone gets shanked.
Jack's always about the shanking.
Someone got shanked in the eye and through the gut.
But that doesn't count. I mean,
Well,
no. I mean that bowl game was coming, and I knew it was coming.
okay,
So-
she was surprise shanking.
Right. And I didn't expect somebody to get burnt up either. But that just sort of seemed rushed.
I just love all the people that are so butthurt about it. I'm like, oh, come on. I still want the imp to be the king.
No, it's not going to be him.
I'm pretty sure it's not, but he's probably my favorite character. Not the him or the Hound.
Well,
Yeah.
Barbecue.
Yeah, all right. We can let Caprico back in now, I guess.
Ha.
All right, cool.
Yeah, he was listening, so.
Hey, Cappy, there's a dragon fight. One dies.
Aww.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, that's why you have 3. So if one dies, you still got 2 more.
You haven't been paying attention for a while, have you? Where was the last episode you saw?
I'm about a season and a half behind now.
Oh, well, you're fucked.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
You're gonna have to catch some memes on the fly that reveal shit to you.
Yeah, I know.
Snape
I know.
kills Dumbledore.
I don't care because I knew this season was gonna be weirder, and it was gonna sound rushed because it's the point at which the books haven't been finished. So,
like, up to what point are the books finished? What was the major event in the last book? I haven't read the book.
I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was just until like the last season was when.
No,
it was before that.
No, it's way before that. Let's see here. I know. As far as the John storyline in the books, he just got shanked at the Night's Watch, so he's dead.
Oh
See?
wow! So
I said Jack was all about the shanking.
That was long time ago. So that was, yeah. So yeah, I mean, after that point, it just started getting really odd for me. It went away from what they originally had going in the first couple of seasons. So
yeah, most people don't seem to be happy with it. But then again, most people also aren't happy about the ending of almost any series. Like,
yeah,
the only one that pissed me off was like How I Met Your Mother, because I was like, they did a really good job of making you love the mother, and then they have that ending. Because they filmed it during the second season, and it went on for what, like 10 seasons or some shit?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then people were unhappy about Breaking Bad, but I thought that ending was pretty much perfect for what was going on.
Right, yeah. It has for those that haven't seen the ending of either of these shows, spoiler alert. But what's cool about the ending of Breaking Bad is it has two different outcomes that it kind of just leaves hanging. It's either he dies and he goes out on his own terms, or he gets saved by the authorities and then put in jail for the rest of his life, basically.
Well, no, I just assumed that he died.
Right, but here's the thing. There's this YouTube channel called Film Theory, and they broke down that, and this is all just like fun, but they broke down the visuals at least to show like, okay, he might, like, those bullets would be penetrating through any sort of drywall and wood or anything. They wouldn't just ricochet right into Walt. So he probably got hit with a piece of shrapnel, is what their theory was. And then it was so small and so shallow that it wouldn't have caused him, which is why he was walking around for forever until he passed out. So he's probably still alive. He's just probably not doing great. Probably got a pain in the side. But that video was fun. So it leaves the question of, does he go out on his own terms like he's always wanted to? And does he quote unquote win? Or does he actually get caught? Who knows?
I am happy to say I finally saw Endgame.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
I enjoyed it. I mean, it was only thing bad I can say about it. It was crowded, but then again, they want to put everybody in it almost.
Yeah. But the last one was incredibly crowded. At least the majority of this one wasn't as crowded.
That's true.
But yeah, I thought that was really good, and a lot of people hate the ending. I thought it worked out fine. So
I do feel that they underrepresented the Adrian minority in it.
Adrian minority.
Hey,
yeah.
there is one Adrian in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, at least. Who is it? Anybody? No one cares about the Adrian Archie.
Adrian Marvel Comics. Vulture.
That's it. Yep.
Adrian Toomes. Yeah. He got basically his own movie, dude.
That's true.
And you got Batman to play him. So
that was kind of I like Michael Keaton. It's a shame that he doesn't seem like he's been in much from the late '90s until Spider-Man. I hadn't seen him in a whole. I knew he did something called Birdman, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, he was in Birdman. He's been in a few movies actually since that have been kind of good and kind of award winning. He was in
critically acclaimed than actual blockbusters until Spider-Man.
well, yeah, and he was in Spotlight, which is I don't know who he was playing. I don't know if he was one of the main characters in that or not. He was in Birdman. He was in Spider-Man: Homecoming. He was in a movie called The Founder, which is a biopic on the guy who founded McDonald's.
Whoop-de-doo!
Yeah. He's in The Other Guys, some other kind of B movies.
Oh, he was in RoboCop. I
Yeah,
forgot about
RoboCop.
You mean the remake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched a bit of that. I just didn't care.
He was in Jackie Brown? Huh.
Yeah,
Gotta
but
rewatch
Brown
that.
was the '90s, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's 97. I gotta rewatch that movie.
Was that the one that Quentin Tarantino did?
Yeah, it's one of his ones.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jackie Brown, director Quentin Tarantino with the screenplay by Tarantino. It has
And Greer.
it has Pam Grier, Samuel L. Jackson. It also has Robert De Niro in it and Robert Forster. It's a good movie.
And one of the Fonda daughters. I don't remember which Fonda daughter is in it.
Bridget Fonda.
Okay.
Oh, and the most important one that is either out or coming out that he's in is Dumbo.
He's in Dumbo. I haven't seen much about. Actually, is that already come and gone?
I don't
Yeah.
know. Really?
Well,
Like-
let me. It's slated for 2019. Yeah, it came out March 29th.
Wow.
It has a IMDb score of 6.6 out of 10.
Which for IMDb, that's not bad.
Too bad. It has
Yeah.
a 46% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Woo!
It's
That
2.5 stars by the Rolling Stones. Or by the Rolling Stone. And yeah, it did, however, make about double its budget. So
Oh, no, all right. It did okay then.
I mean, but it's a Disney's kid movie. It's a kid movie.
You
Yeah,
think?
for Disney, that sucks.
Well, I didn't see much marketing for it. That's the thing. I saw a little bit of marketing. Like I've seen way more marketing for Aladdin than I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because you don't live with a child in your house and have like Tom and Jerry and stuff like that on in the background throughout the day.
So Aladdin is actually in theaters right now.
Oh,
And-
it's right now?
Yeah, so
Really?
it launched. So here's the dumb thing that I think that Disney did. They both launched Aladdin. They released Aladdin and Dumbo within a week of each other.
I didn't know Aladdin was even out. All I know is the stuff I've seen, the previews, songs. Is one of the songs I've seen a clip of. It felt like it was out Sonicking Sonic.
Wait, are you sure
And I'm not-
Aladdin is out?
Yeah,
Gotta go
Like
fast.
IMDb
Oh,
is
sorry.
showing it's supposed to be May 24th.
May 24th. I thought it said March 24th.
Ah,
My bad.
No. So one of the songs from Aladdin, they came out, showed Will Smith everything. It's all the, like I remember the original animated movie, and Genie was so active, bombastic, everything like magic, the Prince Ali, Fabulous He, Ali Ababa, and Will Smith is just he
Will
does the singing, a little bit of auto tuning, and but it's like yes, a little bit of auto tuning.
maybe a
And-
lot of it.
It doesn't. There are certain parts where it's obvious. The rest of it, not so much. But the big thing is, I don't really see much in the way of magic. It's just him singing, focusing on him much of the time, along with a little bit of special effects on the background, but nothing coming from him. And it's like this, despite all the background, all the massive budget they must have put into the scene, it felt boring because Will Smith wasn't doing anything, despite him being the focus.
No, Aladdin's the focus, not the genie.
Of the song, much of the that song, Genie was the focus, even though the song was about Aladdin.
Yeah, I honestly don't like the vast majority of remakes that are occurring. I tried to watch that, because honestly, I liked Mary Poppins when I was a kid. Thought it was a fun movie. The new one came out with whoever that woman is. I made it through like 5 minutes and was like, man, this sucks. This is crap.
Remember when they had original movies and that weren't reboots?
Yeah. I can remember that. I don't know if you guys can remember that.
I remember.
As the oldest guy on the cast, I think I can remember it. But...
He remembers pretty well.
I mean, there's still some coming around every once in a while, but I don't know.
Did you guys see the one that was called Nightcrawler? It was a movie, not the superhero.
Yes,
the one with the guy that
Nightcrawler.
films. Yeah, the guy that films shit with his camera. That was amazing. That was probably my favorite recent original movie I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, that is one of my favorites. To give context, Nightcrawler is about a very socially challenged dude that sees a incident happen, and then a bunch of cars just show up out of nowhere, and they're all freelance videographers that sell their tape or sell their clips to news stations for a lot of money. So he eventually just starts going around and doing all of that himself, and it's a really good thriller. And he eventually it's a good show. It's a good movie.
It really is. So good.
It's one of my favorites one of my favorite movies that I watched while I was in college.
But you're saying there's no night crawlers or fishing involved?
Nope.
So disappointing.
Man, I'm disappointed in my followers on Twitter. I put up a poll, say, who's your favorite leader? Cook, Picard, Cisco, and Janeway.
Obviously, Picard.
Well, Picard's got it over. Cisco is second, but Picard still has almost 4 times as many votes, it looks like.
Because it's freaking Picard, man.
Well, actually, no, make that 3 times as many votes, but still. Janeway's bottom of it, and I remember telling someone the other night Cisco was my favorite because he punched the god. And so he said, that shows his lack of control. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah, so Picard's sitting at 58% right now.
Oh, that's a shame. Janeway was pretty good. Picard and Janeway are definitely my top 2, and honestly, I would say they're interchangeable to me.
But engage.
I will have to say, Picard never ages. Doesn't matter if it's 20, 30 years later.
A little bit, but man,
that's because he was bald when he was 20.
He will never age a day.
He's aged a little bit. If you actually go back and watch some Next Generation first season,
yeah,
he has. But
okay, maybe he has 2 more wrinkles now.
Yeah, he's well preserved. I will say that.
He really didn't age that much. I mean, I remember seeing one of his earliest roles when he was in Dune. Because if anyone remembers that, he was actually in Dune, and that was only 5 years before TNG was on the air. So,
yeah,
that was one of his first major roles.
Because he was a Shakespearean theater actor, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's what he was known for.
Yeah.
Maybe I should ask people who their favorite second in command is. I don't know.
Number 1, Riker.
Well, actually, the original number 1 was in the original series pilot, and it was played by Margaret Roddenberry. How do you say her name?
We can always try to see who their least favorite character is. I mean, who's your least favorite Star Trek character?
Probably Wesley.
Same here. I mean, that's
shut up, Will.
Back then and right now, he is my least favorite Star Trek character. Everyone fucking hates the guy. Oh my god! He tries to be woke, and the woke fucking hate him. And he just pisses me off. He tries to be Mr. Nerd Culture Ambassador, speaking for all the nerds to the rest of society. And he just so fucking cringy.
Yeah.
I see, like, I don't think he's played like many video games in his life yet. He goes to these video game events, calls himself, the video game ambassador to the rest of society, and he gets these interviews for from big game publications, and he's just so cringy.
He's more enlightened than all of us.
Well,
Really.
and he's also he is also one of the founders of Geek and Sundry, I think, which is Sundry. Yeah, which is
I've heard a lot of also rumors of what he does. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Go ahead.
rumors around that. But no, it's just like I think it was him and Felicia Day started Geek and Sundry, and it's just all like Warhammer. It's like tabletop stuff, Pathfinder, D&D, a lot of board games, stuff like that. So it's really it's fun. They did D&D.
My understanding is an activist.
Right. I'm just showing you how like he
my
does
understanding
have
is that
some cred with
Will, first and foremost, some cred, but him as a person, his personality, how he treats other individuals, even those closest to him. He's a garbage human. Like, from my understanding, he coerced Felicia Day into being an activist for him. Will Wheaton is a garbage human being.
Hey now, no ad hominems on the Irongeek cast. That's totally.
I'm okay.
we got it from the man himself.
So I that is all to say. That's conjecture coming from. I am a friend of someone who used to be next door on the guild, so we got to be friends with Felicia Day, and I wouldn't. So I'm trying to find out if I put this. He got to know Felicia Day, though. While they did grow apart after a while, he's the one who told me that. Though I do not know if that is an assumption on his part or he was told that personally. But he just said that he personally is convinced of that. Is what he told me. So take it for what you will before you go spread it around everywhere else. But that is what he. That's what he was. That's what he was told. Anyways, go ahead.
All right, pretty much covered it. That's why I was bringing up the Geek and Sundry thing. It's like he does have some cred with being a geek or with the video games and tabletop stuff, because he kind of runs one of the largest quote unquote channels or quote networks for just streams and stuff like that for like D&D and all that stuff.
To summarize it, he's an activist first, a human being second.
Oh,
That's to summarize it.
I'd rather meet Kirik Lofton.
Don't know who that is.
Oh, that's the guy who played Jake Sisko in DS9.
Gotcha. I'm a very bad.
I have this way. As far as child actors from Star Trek, I'd rather meet Clint Howard. He'd be cool to hang out with. He was a little kid of alien race or something. Or actually, I think he was an adult alien, but he was a little kid playing him in one of the original series episodes. Yes, I'm a dork.
We're all dorks here.
I think before Next Generation came out, one of the things I remember fondly from childhood is a lot of times after church, my uncle and my grandma and I and my brother would go out to Mr. Gaddy's Pizza, get the buffet, and they had a big screen TV of sorts, a projection TV, one of those old ones with like the red green I think it was red, green, and blue lamps inside. So we're talking old school, and they would be playing reruns of the original series up on that at Mr. Gaddy's. And at the time, that was a big ass TV.
Nice. Does Mr. Gaddy's still exist there?
At that same location, I honestly don't know. I think Mr. Gaddy's still exists, but let me.
Yeah, there's only one. Mr. Gaddy's converted over to a lot of the locations have converted over to Gaddyland.
Oh, okay, because I know there's one in my hometown, and next time I'm there, I'm actually going to take the pizza isn't all that great, but just due to sentimental reasons, I'm going to take her there.
Looks like there's one in Clarksville now, but I think the Jeffersonville one is closed. Actually,
Yeah, it might be because I think on your side of the bridge, the only one left is over by the mall.
Yeah, the one I think it came with you a carry out, and now I have no idea what it is in Jeffersonville. For various scouting reasons that you may see from my pictures on Twitter, I've been in Jeffersonville a lot over the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
All right, we got to pull off 4 more minutes.
Yep, Mr. Gaddy still exists in Martinsville, so awesome.
Here's something from Twitter. Huawei willing to sign, quote, no spy pacts with government chairman. This is a Reuters article. So Huawei is willing to sign a no spy agreement with governments, including Britain. The Chinese telco company's chairman said on Tuesday, amid U.S. pressure on European countries to shun the firm over espionage concerns. You think? We'll just sign this agreement, but there's still going to be a backdoor.
Well, it's one of those things where I know I've heard that there is some pushback or some European countries kind of ignoring the U.S. Due to not liking the current administration. So I don't really know how effective the U.S.'s pressure campaign is outside of the U.S. and UK.
China. Wrong.
You're gonna have to give me that soundboard.
It's just an app. I just looked up like meme sound. It's like meme soundboard 2019 on the Play Store.
Okay then.
Of course, air horn is still there.
2019.
Yeah, that's an older meme right there.
But here's also something. You guys probably, well, you might agree with this, but what's to say that Apple and Google don't have a backdoor into all of their devices?
So let me phrase this. What is speculative about any kind of backdoor when they own the fucking... It's not fucking hidden. They control a fucking Play Store app. They own the update mechanism. What do you mean a backdoor? They own the front door.
They own the servers where you have your fucking iCloud backups at.
Right.
They own the front door. What are you complaining about backdoors? For my God.
That's what I'm getting at. It's a pick your poison kind of scenario. You're lesser of two evils. That's what I was trying to get at, which you guys did perfectly.
Well, I mean, it does. Other people have. I've just heard that from other people, and it just is one of the stupidest things I ever hear. It's like, what would be the purpose for Google to put a backdoor into Android or Microsoft to put another backdoor into Windows?
I mean that, and that's also the reason why Apple fought so hard when the FBI came around and said, "Hey, put a backdoor in this iPhone for it." Nope.
Oh yeah. There is. I mean, this. Think about it. Let's say the FBI won, and now every time the FBI forces Apple to make a backdoor update for law enforcement investigations. Now it's in court, and the defendant is challenging it, and now the compromised software has to go through all these auditors to get okay from the court saying yes, it does what it says it does. No bugs. It didn't. It can't do something the FBI didn't say it already does. And then these auditing firms, which are kind of infamous for those things selling the stuff they have to audit, copies of the stuff they have to audit, and to organizations that shouldn't have it. It would just cascade. It's not the problem with the FBI. I mean, conceptually, the FBI being able to coerce Apple into making backdoors for law enforcement stuff is not just because the FBI has access. It's much more than the FBI would get access. I know it took a long. I said that in far too many words. But I hope I got the point across.
Yeah, point across. That's good.
Tinfoil hat acquired.
Point taken.
You have just picked up a tinfoil hat. You're welcome.
No, it's just standard processes for a lot of prosecution.
But we have covered this on the cast before. There are ways to shut or to lock out law enforcement from your device, technically, unless they start like dumping memory from it. But for them to get like full access to your phone via either asking you to put your fingerprint or to use your fingerprint to unlock the phone. We covered that, I think, last week.
We've covered it a lot.
Yeah, we covered it most recently in the last week's episode, where I knew of the iPhone's built-in way to lock down to put it into a quote lockdown mode. You just click the power button 5 times on any iPhone. I'm not sure if it's the same on newer ones. It worked on my iPhone 6, and I think on anything up to an iPhone 8. I'm not sure about anything past that.
Yeah, and don't necessarily try to do that on an Android phone. Verify before you do that.
Yeah, so on Android,
that will automatically call emergency services.
Oh, okay. Yeah, don't do that on Android. On Android, it's a little bit different. There's a settings panel for security and access. You can enable this thing called lockdown mode, which then when you go to power down the device, so just hold it like you're powering down your device, and it'll have a little prompt that says lockdown mode, and you press the lockdown mode or tap or whatever, the lockdown mode, and it does the exact same thing. You need to put in a PIN then, which via current law enforcement rules or current laws and whatever and legal stuff, they cannot force you to unlock a phone if it's just a PIN, but they can do it if it's a fingerprint.
Yeah, if it's something you know versus something you are. Yeah.
And your face.
Your face.
Right, which is why I turn off all biometrics and all facial identification, and it's strictly a long ass password.
Oh, that sucks. He really built that up. I was really looking forward to that last reel.
looking forward to the
yeah.
Jones, to your question, can you use your foreskin to unlock it? I guess you could. I'm not sure. Or your rectum. We're working on that. Look at anglebiometrics.com.
It's a real site.
Yeah, I know 2 or 3. I was drunk in one of the room parties, and someone mentioned. Anyway, the website got created regardless.
Welcome to the coughing fit part of the podcast.
Nice. And Tristan, are you heading down to Derby?
I'm assuming that's to chat. Everyone just started saying F.
I missed out on the 6-second window.
2 seconds.
2 seconds. Well, yeah.
Well, technically, there was probably some people who didn't complete the payment side, and so
Yeah, but there weren't many.
Yeah,
mean,
there were
'cause
not many.
Even though I didn't participate, I was watching, and it moved quickly.
I think I saw like it come back up once and then it was gone. So yeah.
Yeah.
So like, how do I get a free ticket? What do I do?
Submit a talk to DerbyCon.
Hashtag thoughts and prayers. Yeah, submit a talk. If you are accepted as a speaker, you automatically get a free GA ticket.
Isn't
Is the call for papers over, or is it still going?
Call for papers. No, call for papers still goes until I think it's towards the end of June.
It's like June 20th
okay.
or something like that. For some reason, that rings a bell in my head.
Yeah, I have looked at. Then again, we also have a speakers committee now. So how do you put it? What's the right term? A CFP committee who goes over it.
June 9th. Well, at 11:59 p.m. will be the close for the cutoff time. And to understand, if you have spoke there in the past, and you think you're a shoe-in, this year we'll probably have 2 to 3 times more submissions than last year. So it's going to be, but we're still probably going to have about the same amount of speakers. So if you don't get selected, don't be upset. There's just going to be a lot of submissions.
So maybe I'll do my cool reverse shell thing and see if they let me talk about that.
There you go.
There you go.
Assuming I get the green light to open source it and whatnot, by the time
Yes.
that the call for papers ends.
That's right.
And on a related note, I'm gonna talk to someone else. Talk to you about something else off air. But anybody else got anything they want to say before we end the cast?
Next month, if you are in the Kansas City area during SecKC, I will be working on a talk in the next couple of weeks here to then present on that. So if you want to come and see me do a talk at SecKC, there you go. Next month. So I think second week in June will be when I'm doing that talk. And I also will be submitting that talk to DerbyCon.
Cool.
So, yay! And new tool that I've been working on for the past couple of months at work just got greenlit to be put open source. I will have a full demo next week on how to use it and what it is. So look forward to that from me. That's all I got.
Awesome. Oh, let's see. Next week. If anybody's in the Central Ohio area, the Central Ohio ISSA Summit is happening. So if you're there, I'll actually be working the majority of the time. But if you hit the vendors area, I'll be there. That's it for me.
All right. Well, I think we're going to end it then. And everybody, catch you next Wednesday. And have a good night.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Later.